So last time we left off with using filters in both Apple Motion and After Effects. We've looked at the layer order or the filter order of the effects and filters. So this time, let's start again with filters, but just a little bit. So in After Effects, I always see this effect used, which is the displacement map, to displace the pixels of a layer. So let's look at it on After Effects. So I have my layer here, so just an image. Then let's add some displacement map. So here on the effects and preset, displacement map. So let's select this one. So the displacement map, it needs a displacement map layer. So currently it's selected the layer itself. So if you adjust this horizontal and vertical displacement, so we will have something like this kind of result. So quite interesting. But most of the time we don't use that, or we don't use the layer itself. We use another layer as a map source. So for example, let's add a new solid. Okay. And then this solid, let's add some ramp or gradient ramp. Okay, and then let's set it to left to right. 0. Okay. And then let's add some posterize. Then let's set this to 3. So let me adjust this one. This mode. Okay, so something like this. Okay, so we have now our map layer or displacement map layer. Let's turn that off. Then here on our image, on the displacement map layer, let's change this displacement map to the solid where we have our gradient ramp. Okay, then let's set this max horizontal to 0. And then the vertical displacement, let's adjust this one. So as you can see, we can adjust this area. Quite interesting. Okay, let's try it on a text. So I will make some text in here. Let's center that up. Then let's also add some displacement map. Then same as earlier, let's select the white solid. And if we add, oh, one more thing I forgot is here on the displacement map, we select the solid. And then we need to select effects and mask. Okay. So let's set again the horizontal displacement to 0. And then let's adjust the vertical displacement. So as you can see, we can achieve this kind of look. So pretty interesting. Let's turn that off and let's go back to our image. Then here, let's change it to effects and mask. So as you can see here, let's move closer. Let's adjust this one. So we have this kind of a look. So in motion, let's head on to motion. We can also do the same. We can also do the displacement. So let's make a new group first. And Shift N, and then I will import the same image. Then in Apple Motion, we need to also add some displacement filter. So the displacement filter here in Motion is called Bump Map. Let's select our group first and then filters, distortion, and then bump map. So here on bump map, we also need our displacement map. So how can we create our displacement map? It's quite easy. So let's make a new group. Then let's go to add object, generators, and then gradient. So unlike in After Effects where you need to add the solid and then add the gradient ramp, in Motion we already have that. So let's change this to black and white. And then let's add some posterize filter also. So filters, time, and then where is it? Strobe, I think. Not the strobe. What's the tag for that one? I can't remember, so sorry about that. Maybe not style. Let's say, I think it's pixelate. Stylize. Pixelate. Yeah, so it was pixelate. Okay, maybe let me check another one. So I cannot remember correctly. Here. Posterize. Okay, so we have this one. Almost the same, so don't worry. So this group, let's rename it as map. So let me check, posterize or pixelate. I think either of the two. Let's turn that off. Then here on the map, let's drag our map here on the map image. Okay. Then for the controls, just change this to horizontal or vertical scale. I mostly do this, but I've seen Simon's video that this one is quite buggy. So if you want, just select this direction and amount. So for now, I will just select horizontal and vertical. So for the horizontal scale, I will set that to 0. And then here on the vertical, we can now play around with this one. So as you can see, we can also shift our pixels based on our map layer. So if we adjust this gradient, let's see. Okay, that's maybe something like this one. So as you can see, we almost achieved the same thing. So that's one of the popular filter that's commonly used in After Effects, which you can also do in Apple Motion. Next, let's talk about Repeater and the Replicator. Let's go to After Effects first. So Repeater is just repeats an image or layer. So let's turn off our image here. Let's add some simple shape. So let's use a simple shape to understand it easily. Let's center this one. And then to make a repeater so here, select your layer, then add, and then repeater. So this repeater, we have different controls, of course. So how many copies? So as you can see, that how many copies you want your repeater. Then here on the transform, we can adjust the anchor point up to the end opacity. So for me, I don't or haven't really used the repeater in After Effects, so I cannot really explain it really well. But as you can see, the repeater just repeats or replicates your layer. So let's see, I think we can do something like this one. Oh, maybe no. Yeah, this one. So position. Okay, 0, 0, and then maybe this one, scale. Oh, Okay. So this is how to make or how to create repeating images in After Effects. So let's now do the same in Apple Motion. So let's turn off our image layer. I would make a new group. Then let's make the same shape. Press R to make a rectangle. Let's center it up. Okay. Now to make a repeater or to create a repeating image in Apple Motion, we use replicators, okay? So how to make or how to use the replicators? First is select your layer. So similar to mine, I already selected my layer here. And then press replicate here on the right side. So our replicator controls already, you can see here on the left side. So we can also we can now select what kind of shape. So now it's rectangle. So as you can see, it's a rectangle shape. Okay, so it's rectangle. Wait, let me resize this rectangle, our main rectangle. Okay, so we have rectangle. So you can also have a circle. So circle shape. Then different options in here. So let's just select rectangle. We can also select it only select the outline or random field. Then we can control the amount or no, the size, because we're rectangle, the size, the total number of points. So just like this. Then we can also do the offset. So that's how to, that's how to create a repeating image in Apple Motion. So I hope it's clear and easy to understand. So next, let's now go back again to After Effects. So let's minimize this, or let's turn off our shape layer. Let's duplicate this one, turn it on, and then let's remove the repeater. So where is it? Yeah, so let's delete this repeater image, or yeah, the repeater. Now let's talk about the emitters or particles in After Effects. So to have particles in After Effects, we go to Effects and Presets, and then if I remember correctly, it's CC Particles. Yeah, this one, CC Particle World. So let's double click that and then add to our layer. And if we press spacebar, we now have these particles in. Yeah, we have now these particles. So we have controls here, the basic controls like birth rate, how many, then how long, the longevity, I think, yeah. Then this one, producer, I don't know how to use actually this one also. So bear with me, I don't usually use After Effects and haven't touched this particle world. So yeah, so this is the how to create a particle in After Effects. So one thing you will also notice that this one is already, let's say, the 3D area or 3D space. Yeah, so take a note of that. So we can also do the same in Apple Motion actually. So let's go to Motion. So this, where is it? Oh, this rectangle, let's copy that. We can also do particles in Apple Motion. So select your layer, of course, and then this one, make particles. So E for the shortcut. So we now have our particles, same as After Effects. So if you want it to be in 3D space, you just select this option or turn on this option. So you also have different controls in here, especially this cell controls, which is important. So birth rate, like how many, Then we want that to be randomized, which is this birth rate randomness. So initial number, how many initially? This one. Then life, which is the longevity in After Effects. Then we can also control the speed, how fast it goes out from the center because we have point. Then we can also adjust the randomness, the angle randomness. Okay, let me, yeah, okay. The speed or spin, I mean. Then some other settings in here. So currently in upper motion we have this point selected. We can also change that similar to the replicator. We can have a line, rectangle shape, then circle. Then each shape they have this arrangement. So currently on circle they have this tile fill, and you can also have the outline, random fill. So that's how to make particles in Apple Motion. So they're almost the same, right? Hey. Okay, now so let's talk about parenting and null in After Effects and Apple Motion. So let's go back to After Effects. I will turn this off, or this layer off. So let's add a new shape. I like shapes for convenience and so that it's easy to understand. Let's add a rectangle in here. So rectangle here. Then I will add another shape. Let's add a circle. So, okay, this one. So this circle will animate from left to right. So let's add some keyframes. Okay, so quite easy. So I have 3 keyframes. So from left, the initial position, then the middle keyframe, so goes to right, and then the last keyframe, the shape or the circle goes to the center. So if we look at it, okay, so really easy. So in After Effects, to link this rectangle to this circle, we select this one or this, I think this one, yeah, this one, and then pick whip, yeah, the term is pick whip to the circle. Then if we press play, both of them now do the same animation. So we can also do the same in Apple Motion. So we're now talking about the parent and link. So let's now go back, let's go to Apple Motion. Let's turn this layer. Let's make a new group. So same as After Effects R, let's make a rectangle. And then let's make a circle. I will add some keyframes for my circle. So let's take a look at the animation in Apple Motion. Okay, so quite simple. Now, how can we link this rectangle, our shape, so that it will animate the same, or it will animate its position, same with the rectangle? So we will use the link behavior. So the link behavior, it links two properties. For example, I will link this X position of the rectangle to the X position of the circle. So to do that, let's select this arrow here, then add parameter behavior link, then select circle and drag it here on the source object. It will automatically update the source parameter because we are linking the same X parameter or X position. Now, if we press spacebar, we now have the same result as After Effects. So, to link in Apple Motion, we just use the link behavior. The link behavior is a really powerful behavior in Motion. There's a lot of settings in here that I don't usually use. I hope you understand how to link properties or use the link behavior in Apple Motion. So let's go back to After Effects. So let's talk about parenting. So let's remove this link here. So this one I haven't really used a lot or haven't really touched the parent and link. So we still have the animation for the circle. Now let's do the parenting. Let's add some keyframes for this rectangle. Let's say let's add some scale animation. So around maybe here. Let's increase the scale of that one. Then around here, let's return it to normal. So it now has its own animation, which is scale. So it animates just like this. So let's set the let's center it up. Okay. So center. Let's change the color so that we can see it clearly. Okay. So if I remember correctly, we need to select our rectangle layer and then select this or click this parent and link here, this arrow here, and then select this one. So if we go to our first frame, so we can see that our rectangles follow the animation while maintaining its animation. Okay, let me double check. Maybe I might be wrong. So let's adjust the position here and then, okay, like this. Yep, so this is the parenting. So for those After Effects people, let me know if this is the correct way. So now let's go back to Apple Motion. So in Apple Motion, we can also do the same thing. So let's remove this link. And then in Apple Motion, it's quite different way. Let's remove this rectangle first out of the group, circle group. And then here on our circle, let's animate the position. So let's delete this keyframe here. Let's reset that one. So let's animate the position of our circle. So first position here on the left side. Then around 2 seconds also, let's send to right side. Oh, sorry. And then here on 4 seconds, let's send to center. So we have now this animation, right? Left to right to center of our circle. Then our rectangle, let's also center this one and change its color. Let's animate the scale. So let's add some keyframes. So around, let's say here. And then around this one, let's set to 220. Then around here, set to 100. So if we look at our composition or our project. So we have this, right? So in Apple Motion, what we can do is just we can link the position of, no, is that correct link? Let's see. So let's add some link behavior on our rectangle group X position to the group of the circle. Okay, so if we go to the first frame and then press spacebar. Okay, so it's quite different, right? Because it animates in the center where it should. Okay, let me double check. Yeah, I think it's correct. So we have this kind of result. So another way, let's delete this one, is that this rectangle group, just drag this inside the circle group. Okay, let's reset this one also. And then if we go to first frame, so we also achieve the same thing. So that's the parenting and linking in Apple Motion. Now let's talk about the null behavior. The concept of null behavior was quite foreign to me before, so I cannot really understand how it works. But it's actually really simple. So first, let's delete our circle. Okay. We now only have this rectangle shape. So to add a null layer in After Effects, let's right click here and then new null layer. Here, null object. So this null object, it's empty layer, so you can, but it has the same properties with the other layers. So this null layer, we can animate the position of this one or some properties. The properties. This time, let's animate the scale of this null layer. So press S on your keyboard. Then I'll add some keyframes. So I'll make it 200. Then return back to 100 around here. Okay. Then we need to link or pick whip this rectangle to our null layer. So let's just select this one and then pick whip. Oh, I think that's correct. Yeah, so if we press spacebar. Okay, so that's how to make or how to use the null object in After Effects. So we can also do the same in Apple Motion. So let's post that one. Okay, so let's delete our circle here. Let's remove the rectangle from the group. Okay, so square, Let's put it on the center. So how to make a null layer in Apple Motion? We can do two ways. So mostly I do this. The first one is make an empty group. So Command Shift N, and then you can rename this as your null layer. Or the other way around is just duplicate this rectangle and then rename it as null, and make sure all the properties, the transform properties, if you will use that one, and also here, make sure it's on the default. Okay, so first one, So because we have now this empty group or our empty null group, we can also animate this one. So let's animate the scale. So start from here, 15. Then around here, 115, let's make it around 300. Then around here, 215, let's make it 200. Then our rectangle, because we have keyframes already here on our scale, we will link the scale of our group to the null group. So click this one, add parameter behavior, and then link. Then drag this null group inside here on the source object. Okay. So if we go to our first frame, okay, so you can see the difference. So let's make it much more visible. Around maybe here. Okay. Then let's take a look. Okay, so we can do the null animation, or we can also use null in Apple Motion. So the other one, so this null group, empty group, let's turn that off. Let's delete this link. So the same thing, we just need to link again. So let's first select our null rectangle. It's also in the middle. So this time, let's animate its rotation. So let's add some keyframes around here at the start of our keyframe of the rectangle. So add a keyframe there. Then around this area, let's make it around 360. Okay, -60. Then, because this rectangle, there's no animation for the rotation, we can just link this rotation to our null rectangle. So, click, add parameter behavior, and then link. Then, let's just drag this null inside this source object. Okay, so it will update the source parameter. And then, if we go to our first frame, so we have now the same result, or we have also successfully linked our rectangle to our null layer. So that's the nulls, or that's how to use null in both After Effects and Apple Motion. So here in After Effects, we use After Effects users usually use pre-comps a lot. So let's delete this null and then our rectangle layer. So we have some animation here already sa scale. Let's now pre-comp this one. So right click and then pre-compose. Let's rename this as AE pre-comp. Okay, then OK. Then this AE pre-comp, it will appear here on our this side project area, I think. Yeah, so this one. So in my understanding, pre-comp, like any animation you do here, will not affect the layer inside the pre-comp. For example, I will add some rotation in here, or rotation animation around here. Let's make it 1 revolution. Then if we press play, so we have this. And then if we open this pre-comp, our layer inside, there's no rotation animation. So this pre-comp, we can also speed it up and speed it down. So I think, where is it? Not this one. Yeah, this one. So we can stretch this like this, something like this one. And then if we press spacebar, okay, so it's much faster. Then we can also apply some filters in here. So let's apply some filter. Okay, let's make it blue. Okay. So that's the pre-comp in After Effects. You can also do something like this in Apple Motion. So let's head back to Motion. So let's delete this link. Let's delete the null and the other null. Okay, so here in Motion, how can we do that pre-comp? So first, let's take a look. So we have this animation for our rectangle. Quite easy animation. So to pre-comp or to do that kind of thing in Apple Motion, we can use clones. But first, let's rename this as our source. And then let's press K on our keyboard. So let's turn off this source. Then we have this clone layer. If we press spacebar, this clone layer inherits the animation we have made or we have done on our rectangle. How about timing? We can speed it up using this timing here. So you can change the speed. For example, let's make it much faster. Let's set this to 200. So we have the same thing. Let's, of course, reset that one. Let's add some rotation similar to the one in After Effects. So let's add some Z rotation. So here, minus 360. Go to first frame. So it's rotating. So adjust the speed. Set to 200. And then if we look at our animation, same thing as the one in After Effects. So let's add some filter. So filters, stylize, and then fill. Let's change it to blue. Okay, and then same thing as the one earlier in After Effects. Okay, so that's how to make pre-comps in Apple Motion. Then, if you look at our source, still the same, still red, and still animating, or the scale still animates. So this clone layer, other than the speed, so let's reset it to 100. Okay, let's move this filter up to the end. So other than the speed, we can also reverse this one. I think in After Effects we can also do. So let's click reverse, and then we have the reverse of what we have earlier. And also, so this end condition, so what does this do is that, for example, our clone layer ends up, or our clone layer's animation ends up to here, so 3. If we trim this clone layer, so if we trim this clone layer and then change the end condition to loop or ping pong and then adjust this one, it will do what we have selected here on the end condition. For example, so here, okay, so that's how it works. Okay, now let's move to 3D space and the 3D camera. So let's head back to After Effects. Okay, so here on the new composition, let's add some shapes. Of course, let's add some shapes. Okay, so in After Effects, we need to change these layers to 3D. So we select this one, the 3D layer. Okay, now we can now adjust the, okay, where is it? This one. Yeah, the Z or Z, and also the X and Y. This one Y, this one X and then Y. So let's undo that. Now to add the camera in After Effects, then a layer, new layer, and then camera. Okay, leave as is. Then let's turn on depth of field. Okay, and then let's adjust some settings in here. Yep, so you see we have this blur because it's in front of the camera, especially if we adjust this aperture. So just like this. So we can also move this one like in the Z space or the stick. So something like this. Okay. So we can also do the same thing in Apple Motion. So let's go to Motion. Okay, and then let's make 3 shapes. Let's make a new group first. So C. Let's just duplicate this. Okay, so to add the 3D camera in Apple Motion, you can just do add object and then camera. Then this one will appear and then you just select switch to 3D. Because our group earlier, it was on 2D. If you have this icon here, then it will become like this one. So it's now in 3D space. So same in After Effects, we can have different or multiple views for our 3D. So you just click this and then we have 2 like this, 3 like this, and 4 and so on. Plus, let's just select 2. So as you can see here on the second window, you can select either right, perspective, front, and this other option. Let's select top. So our camera also has different options. We have the framing, which is that the camera will focus on this part, or you can see this area, or you can select viewpoint, which is here. Okay, so let's just select framing. Then angle of view, this one is somewhat the what's that? Focal length or focal, maybe the correct term. You know, if you use camera, we have this 35mm and 45mm, so similar to this one. So for example, if I adjust like this, you can see like this one. Yeah, this one is focal length 45 degrees. Then to achieve the depth of field, we just click this one, show, and then here on the render, depth of field. So we can increase the depth of blur amount, depth of field blur amount, and then let's adjust these shapes. So for example, this purple, let's make it much closer. So as you can see, it's already having its blur amount or out of focus look. So let's move this circle, or no, it's yellow to the back, then you can see like this. Then you can also do the adjustment for the offset of the focus, so like this. So you can just do something like similar with the one in After Effects. So let's reset that one. Okay, so you can adjust some settings in here however you like. So that's the camera. So sorry earlier because the camera is not my strength, or using the camera is not one of my strengths when using Apple Motion and After Effects. Let's head on to After Effects. So let's head back again here on our previous composition. Let's turn on our video. I have a video already prepared. And then let's talk about tracking. So in After Effects, tracking is really good. So I already prepared this one earlier because I also don't use tracking that much. So in After Effects, you select your layer. So I have this video where there's a guy or there's a group of people doing skateboard or doing skateboarding in the skate park. Then here on tracker, so it's disappeared. So to add a tracker here in After Effects, we select track on motion, and then okay, so adjust this one. Let's select the high contrast area. So for example, this one is the shirt, and then select this one, analyze forward. It will track this guy. So as you can see, it already tracked here. Then I have my text in here, which will be tracked onto this guy with the green shirt. So to do that, so edit target. Our target is this tracking text. Then press OK. And then apply. Then OK. And if we press spacebar, so it now tracks the guy with the green shirt. So we can also do tracking in Apple Motion. So let's head on to Motion. Let's turn off this camera. Okay. Turn this off. Then set back to one view only. Let's make it this active camera. So let's import that same video. So here is my video or our video. Then to track in motion, we do is behaviors, motion tracking, and then analyze motion. Then here on the analyze motion behavior, we set this to the mode from object to point. Then we track the shirt. Then once you have placed your tracker to the area where you want to track, just click analyze. So let motion do its thing. So as you can see, it's stopped already. So maybe we can adjust somewhere around here and analyze again. Okay. So motion does not have a great tracking, as you can see. Okay, so we already made our tracking, and then let's make our text also. So press T on your keyboard and then let's put tracking. Okay. Then this one, let's go to behaviors, motion tracking, and then match mode. Then we will drop this analyze motion inside this source. Okay, then if we press, or let's adjust this one first. Oh, okay, let's just look, or let's see first. So as you can see, it tracks the shirt or the guy. Same with After Effects, but in Apple Motion is quite not that good. Okay, so I hope you understand the tracking difference between After Effects and Apple Motion. So one more thing in After Effects is that you can do 3D tracking. Okay, so that's the 3D tracking or tracking between After Effects and Apple Motion. Okay, so we're almost done. Then let's go to our other composition here in After Effects. As we know, After Effects and Illustrator works really well. Let's load some Illustrator files inside After Effects. And then let's import the Illustrator files. So I think Command I. Oh yeah, Command I, and then this one. Let's select this one. And then this one import composition retain plus layer and then open. Okay, so something like this. And then once we have imported our Illustrator files, we can now animate them separately. Especially with After Effects, you can use the puppet tool to animate the individual parts we can animate individual parts of the Illustrator file. So in Motion, we can somewhat do the same. So let's head back to Motion. So let's turn this layer off. So in Motion, Pixelmator is somewhat our Illustrator. So for example, okay, let me load some Pixelmator file. So here in our Pixelmator, we have also the same thing, almost the same thing, I mean. So you design your files in here in Pixelmator. So for example, you can see in here on my screen. And then we convert this Pixelmator file to Motion. So how can we do that? So first is select this one and then export. Then drop it where you want it. And then here you can see Motion project and then what's the frame rate and the duration. So this is this done by my client. I just animated it. So let's minimize that one. And then that Motion file, if we open that in Motion, we will have something like this one. So I already animated this file, and so this is how it looks. Okay, so if you are using Motion, Pixelmator is also one thing that you need to have. You can also import Illustrator files here in Motion. So for example, let's import that. Oh, so because the file is EPS, we cannot do this one. But you can also import Illustrator files here in Apple Motion. So next is the integration between After Effects to Premiere and then Motion to Final Cut Pro. So let's move to After Effects. So in After Effects, we can also create this essential graphics, yeah. So if I remember correctly, you just go here and then hit on the essential graphics. For example, this text. Okay, where is it? So this text, I think we can just do maybe this position. I drag here. Yeah. So drag that there. Drag that there, and then you can export this for Premiere Pro and then load it to Premiere as essential graphics, and then you will have your custom animation or custom motion graphics file for Premiere. So same thing in Apple Motion. So because Motion can create effects, effects, titles, generators, transitions. So same thing. So we just save it as, for example, here is convert project first to title, and then save it as a title. So let's do that. So it's title, convert, then file, and then save. And then here you can put your template name, the category, and also the theme. Then if we go to both Final Cut Pro and Premiere Pro, okay, so here in Final Cut Pro, you can see your custom works here on the left side for the titles. So all of these are titles in Final Cut Pro, and also some generators that you can use here. And then if you go here on the right side, we have the effects for video and audio. And then we have the transition here. So if you go to Premiere Pro, so okay, this one. So Premiere Pro, and then here on the graphics template, all your files will appear in here. The one you have made from After Effects. Okay, so that's the end of the comparison. The verdict in here is that in terms of price, of course, Motion wins because it's only 50, I think, yeah, 50 USD, and you can use it lifetime. And then for some for example, interface, of course, I will choose Motion because it's much cleaner and much easier for me to understand. But if you're a Windows user especially, you cannot use Motion, so of course you will select After Effects. And also lastly, maybe let's just end this. For the verdict, I let you decide which one is the better one. So I hope you enjoyed this last part of my After Effects and Apple Motion comparison. So if you have any requests or topic you want me to cover in Apple Motion, write down below in the comments section. So thank you, and see you again the next time.